So episode 20 of Fruits Basket released last week, and overall, I thought it was pretty good, but I thought there were some problems. Now, these problems aren't really to do with the actual content of the episode itself, but more so in the overall story progression. For much of the second half of Season 2, the show has heavily followed Yuki's storyline, showing his damaged relationship with his mother, his repaired relationship with his brother, his new student council responsibilities, his new friendships, and him starting to take a step back from Toru. Now, don't get me wrong, I've really enjoyed all this, but it does have me a bit worried. And the reason I'm a bit nervous is that it feels like his story's being rushed through quite quickly. He's getting tons and tons of progression really fast, and I'm not sure where his story has to go in Season 3 if it keeps going on such a quick trajectory. He's featured really heavily in the majority of episodes since the end of the beach arc, and it makes me worried that his Season 3 arc will be quite minimalistic in comparison. And this kind of ties into my second frustration. Spending all this time focused exclusively on Yuki means that a number of other big characters kind of get pushed to the wayside. I feel like in the latter half of the season especially, Kyo's been sidelined, and he's only really been seen in glimpses, and even that's through the POV of a different character. In my opinion, staying away from a main character for such an extended period of time can be risky to their own character development and kind of derails the story, because it feels like their life has been artificially put on hold so that we can see Yuki's arc. It doesn't feel like Kyo has his own life or story that can be followed, that he only exists when Toru or Yuki interact with him. But, that being said, those were the only two problems I've really had with the episode, and even then, they aren't really problems that I had with this specific episode, but more a cumulative effect that's been building up over a number of weeks. So anyway, despite my fears over that particular part of the story progression, I still feel like the episode was quite strong, although maybe not as strong as some of the episodes from the past couple of weeks. It focused heavily on Yuki, but it didn't really flesh him out much deeper than we'd previously seen. Instead, it was more focused on his relationships with other people. A recurring theme of the episode was Yuki coming to a realization about Toru that was teased every couple of scenes. In the previous week's recap, he reflected on Rin's similarity to him, he thought about what Akito told him on the beach, and he hinted at it in a conversation with Kakeru towards the end of the episode. Now, it hasn't been made explicitly clear what this revelation was, which is kind of frustrating considering how on the nose they were about that particular plot point, but I'm pretty certain it's basically that he wanted Toru to love him in a maternal way. That he needed that sort of love, just like Rin needed it because they'd been deprived of it all their lives. I think it makes Yuki and Toru's relationship feel very unique and links the interactions in Season 1 and the first half of Season 2 together really well in hindsight. Another element of the episode I found really intriguing was that we further fleshed out the characters of Kakeru and Machi. Kakeru reveals that he and Machi are actually half-siblings and that they were once pitted against each other by their mothers to be their father's successor. Kakeru, however, decided that he didn't want to play those games and he said no, while Machi has been left to face the burdens of the family alone, and it's starting to make it crack. I find it really interesting that they sort of reflect Ayame and Yuki. The older one is carving out their own path and rejecting the expectations of the family, while the younger one's kind of left to carry those burdens and ends up suffering for it. It's nice that Yuki's found a kindred spirit, and it's clear that they're going to have some sort of romance going forward, considering she broke down the closet door with a chair when he got locked inside. I also really enjoyed the subversion of character expectations with the class play. All the roles have been cast to reflect the opposite of that character's personality, and it's probably going to end up being extremely ridiculous, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. Next episode, I hope we start focusing on some of the other characters. Not because I'm bored of Yuki and his entourage, but because I want to explore some of the other stories and not exhaust Yuki's too soon. And now I want to hear what you guys think. What do you guys think of the episode? Are you okay with Yuki being the main focus for now, or would you like to explore other characters more in depth? Let me know.